It's time for another Wildcat All In. I'm Paul Grua, joined today by senior linebacker Alema Tupuola for the Wildcat football team. Alema, thanks for joining me.
Of course.
You've been around a long time.
Yep.
You signed at Weber State in February of 2019. So we're talking 6 years.
Yeah.
And your brother played here. We're going to talk about that too. So yeah, you've probably felt like you've been here a while.
I do.
Right?
I do. Yeah. It's been a minute.
But you got to be excited as a senior coming into this next season and
absolutely
for your last opportunity, right?
Yeah, it's bittersweet. It's been a long journey, and it's I guess the end of an era, as one would say. So
a lot of players that we get from different areas, we kind of talk about what they knew about Weber State and how they got here. But I have a feeling you probably already knew about Weber State.
Yeah, I knew quite a bit. So
growing up in Kaysville, right? And your brother Kavika played here from 2016 to 19, a defensive player as well. That was very good. Growing up, what was life like for you? Did you always get into sports? Was that kind of what your family did?
Yeah, I always loved sports. I just loved being active. I always looked up to my big brother, and anything he did, I wanted to do as well. And so football was one of those things that I just remember I've been doing since I can walk.
Yeah.
I used to be at practices all the time. My dad was his head coach, and so I'd be at their practices all the time, hitting the practice bags and stuff like that. And I'd be their ball boy every now and again, and their water boy. And so that's really how I fell in love with football. And then obviously it helps that my dad played college football as well. And I just fell in love with it at a very early age. And I've always played other sports, but football is always my first love.
This is what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And here you are.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. You, like I said, you signed in February of 2019. You then went on a mission. COVID was in there, right? All that stuff. In fact, you could tell us a little bit about you served a mission in 2 different parts of the world there.
Yeah, so I started my mission in 2019 in Samoa, a little remote island in the Pacific. Loved it.
Which Samoa is where your dad's from,
yeah,
right?
That's where my lineage is from.
Yeah.
My older brother Kavika served there as well. So I had known about it, and I've always had a love for it, and I've always wanted to go.
That had to be pretty neat, though,
it was super
right?
cool.
Wasn't it?
It was really, really cool. I served one village away from where my grandma grew up. I didn't get to serve where my grandpa grew up, but it was really cool just to be in the islands for a couple months. And then the whole COVID thing happened, so everyone had to come home, and that was super weird. It was coming back in the middle of, it seemed like everything was just desert. And so I came back for a couple months and got my reassignment to New York City, which is quite the opposite of being on a little island, and it was fun. It was different. The New York being like the epicenter of COVID, pretty much, and I was there for a little bit, for probably about a month and a half before I came home.
Yeah, it's quite the differences there for sure. The Polynesian culture obviously is important to you and important to many players that we've had over the years and currently too here. I mean, you grew up in Utah, but I mean that culture had to still be a big part of your life.
Absolutely,
right?
My dad always taught us to be proud of who we are, and obviously I come from my mom grew up in southern Utah, so I come from a small town in Utah, and I also come from my Polynesian heritage, and so my dad always taught me to be proud of both sides. It's different in Utah, obviously. There's, you're kind of landlocked out here, so there's not as much Polynesians as there used to, or I guess there's more now than there used to be. But no, my dad always taught us to be very proud. He always taught us the best parts about being Samoan and being from the islands. And that's why my excitement going to Samoa, my mission, was immense, just because I was so excited to see where my family was from and see all the places that my brother was talking about on his mission as well.
Sure. Well, then you came back and you started here at Weber State, right, in 2021, and you've been with us for the last 4 years, going on to your 5th year coming up this year. And I know you've mentioned to us before in different interviews that you've had some struggles that you've dealt with personally that were part of before your mission and during and after, and even in Weber State. Are you okay to elaborate on that a little bit?
Absolutely. So that's actually the reason I came home early from my mission. I really struggled with depression and anxiety. It got to the point I was sleeping maybe 2 hours a night on my mission, and it got to the point I was just very suicidal. It was a very low point in my life. It was something I struggled with for a long time, but really got worse during COVID and all of that. And so that's why I came home early, to take care of myself and to be safe, really. And since then, I figured there's two paths. I could sit there and sulk, or I could go and put in the work. And so I did. I put in the work, and I had to go to therapy once, twice a week, and then for several months. And then as I kept seeing progression in my health, I went less and less, so like every other week, and then twice a month, and then once a month, and then it got to the point it was every other month, and now I don't go to therapy, but like it was definitely something I had to put the work in, and I had to really face it head on. It was tough, but I'm very open about it, but it's something that I don't wish upon anyone. It's something I'm grateful that I went through, because it's made me who I am, and it's just something that I try to help out others with as well. So,
well, I appreciate you being open about it, and like you said, sometimes it's one of those things that's not talked about a lot, but you're trying to help that, I think, and trying to, because it is probably more common than anybody knows, for sure. And I'm sure you just felt in so many ways that it was just, so low, right? But you're a great example, I think, to a lot of people. I really do. And it's something that I'm sure you want to help continue to help others, right? Obviously. Yeah.
And I've had the incredible opportunity of being here, and I've been very open about it since I came home. I have an Instagram post about it. Just basically, it was a post for myself, just accepting what it was, and like more so just taking the battle head on rather than working my way around it. And there's a big stigma of mental health and everything like that, especially in, I would say, athletes.
Right.
And so it's actually been super helpful in my time here. I've been able to help teammates and other friends, and I also work at a treatment center, and it's a unique opportunity that it's opened so many doors for me. I've gotten so much closer to teammates. I've gotten so much closer to friends and family, and just other people throughout the community, and it's just helped so much that I'm just super grateful for that. It's one of those things, like, I'm grateful that I went through it, because I get to impact someone else's life with it.
You never know how the path's going to lead, huh?
Yeah.
For sure. And I was just going to ask you how football affects that, but it sounds like, boy, you've had an opportunity to help others.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Like, there's definitely highs and lows of football, or just any sport, really. And it's just one of those things that there's a lot of lessons I've learned through my time in therapy, and through my time just finding out more about myself and everything, that helps with like the lows of football. There's the mentality of like next play, like in football, and so, which helps so much. But there's obviously just times you get in a little rut, and that's those times I've learned to open up and lean on my friends and family and my teammates and stuff like that.
Fantastic. Well, again, you're definitely an inspiration. It helped a lot of people there. There's two people in your life that I think are pretty important that we should talk about, right? Your wife, Alyssa, when did you get married? How long have you been married?
We've almost been married 2 years now. We got married in June of 2023. And so coming up on
That's fantastic.
On our 2-year anniversary.
And last fall, in September, right before the McNeese home game, a new addition to your family.
Yeah, beautiful little girl.
Your
Navy.
girl, Navy.
Yep.
Where did the name Navy come from?
I've always loved the name. I don't know. It's just one of those things I've always loved. And I told my wife before we got married, I was like, if we have a little girl, like, her name's got to be Navy. Like, I'm sorry, but like, it's just a name I've always loved. I don't know why, but I've just always thought it was cute and everything. So.
Well, it changes your life just a little bit, doesn't it? Yeah, for sure. And what was that like, having it during the season? You know, not having her born right during the season, and managing football, managing school, all that. It
was tough. It was definitely like, I really can't say much really prepares you for that. It was such a blessing though. She's such a blessing. She's just such a smiley little girl. Just loves to be held and loves cuddles with her mom and dad. So. It was definitely a challenge. I mean, the sleepless nights get a little rough, but it was super. I think the things that I went through on my mission and just life to this point really helped me in a way prepare to balance things. I've always done pretty well in school, and so I felt like taking care of that and just basically trying to be where my feet are has really helped me. Like if I'm at practice, I'm at practice. As soon as I'm home, I'm being a dad and a husband. And but if I'm at school, I'm like doing school stuff. So it's always just, there's a lot to handle, but if you're just doing that, it's fine. So.
Well, you mentioned one thing you're juggling there too is school, and as we're sitting here, it's right before graduation.
Yeah.
You're going to graduate from Weber State with a degree in health administration.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations
Appreciate
on that.
it.
And then you're going to jump right into a master's, right?
So I start my master's this fall,
Yeah. What are your plans? Maybe when football's all done, what do you think you want to do?
Eventually, I want to hopefully be like the CEO of a hospital or something like that. Still trying to decide the exact direction of that, but I'm super excited to work. I love healthcare. I've always been passionate about it. I love helping people, as I've already talked about already, and I just love being around people. I love talking to people, and healthcare administration is one of those things that you're around people, you get to work with people, and that want to help people. And so it's after football's done, I'll get into my career and everything like that. But
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, a couple more things. So you've been at Weber State for 4 years. You played for the last 3 years. Do you have a specific memory of a game or a moment that stands out? Favorite?
Oh,
Wildcat. Well, those are hard to answer.
Yeah, I got a couple, but I think that the best is when we just beat the crap out of Utah State. There's nothing better. They're a great fan base up there, and going up and shutting them up 35-7, I believe, and
didn't give up an offensive point at all.
Man, we should have shut them out, but it was fun.
Well, that's great.
It was a blast.
That was absolutely the best. Now you're going in as a senior, and there aren't very many seniors on this team.
Yeah.
Obviously, you feel like, I'm sure, a leadership role that you're taking on with this team.
Yeah, it's different. I feel like we've normally had in the past we've had large Weber State senior classes, and this year, like you said, we don't have a lot, and so I think a lot of us seniors have to definitely put on those leadership roles, and it's different for, I would say, some of us, but at the same time, it's something that we've seen the guys ahead of us do, and something I think we're ready for. You
switched. You were number 33. Now you're number 6. You stay with 6, and why number 6? Is there a reason behind that?
So 33 was always a family number. I wanted to be it for a long time, and then after we had a lot of the older guys leave.
Like Winston Reed?
Yeah, like Winston Reed.
Yeah, number 6.
Good friend of mine. Love that guy. It was always, you have to earn the single-digit numbers on the team. And so I wanted to make it a challenge to myself that I could be one of those guys for this team and be like one of the leaders and everything like that. And so I challenged myself that offseason to work hard and like earn the right to have that single-digit number. Awesome. And so I did. 6 wasn't my first choice, but I think it fits.
You're carrying on the Winston Reed tradition.
Yeah, I carried on the
right?
Winston Reed tradition.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so it's something that
it's a great accomplishment for sure. Yeah. What's your favorite food? What do you like to make? Are you a good cook?
Man, I like to cook just about anything as long as it has some meat. So I love like teriyaki chicken, teriyaki burgers. I love meat June. I love some chicken katsu. So basically a lot of Polynesian food.
Yeah, sounds pretty good.
Yeah, love some sweet potato fries and everything like that. So
if you could go anywhere in the world to visit, where would you want to go?
New Zealand.
Okay, why New Zealand?
So when I flew to Samoa, we flew to New Zealand first. Okay. I've always thought New Zealand was super cool. I've just always wanted to visit New Zealand. It's like #1 bucket list visit.
Do you have a favorite athlete
Ooh.
or sports team?
San Francisco 49ers. I'm a big Niner fan. Rough year this last year for them, but big Niner fan. Big Winston Reed fan, obviously.
There you go. That's right.
Yeah, I would say.
Awesome. Well, you got to be with Rashid Shaheed too on the team.
All of my teammates.
Jonah Williams. Some guys in the NFL. Absolutely.
It's crazy to see because I remember watching them here and
Suopeta, all those guys. Yeah, absolutely.
It's fun.
Well, Alema, thank you. Thanks for your answers here. We're so excited to have you be a senior on this year's team and look forward to the fall and enjoy the summer. But it'll be here before we know it, right? I'm sure you can't wait.
I'm excited.
All right, thanks for joining us today on Wildcat All In.
Of course. Thank you. Go Cats.